All right, so we're out here. So I'm with Kenny Kane, the forester, Generations Forestry. We're in Pennsylvania doing some scouting and checking out trees today. And I think that one of the most overlooked parts of deer, that deer hunters or just hunters in general, is what the deer are eating in these forested environments. So
Yeah.
tree types, browse, everything, and then just being able to understand what the forests look like. So
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things, like, and I grew up hunting big woods. That's what we did. The way my dad got me started hunting was going into where deer are over browsing the regeneration that we're trying to get in the forest. So I kind of had a shift of how I looked at hunting. Is that I didn't want to hunt that way, but now it's like, hey, this is where we live, this is how we hunt, let's dive deeper into it. And I get to use my forestry knowledge, my work knowledge that I get to do every day, and put it into my hobbies. So
yeah, no, so we're gonna go out here today and we're hopefully gonna show you guys watching here different types of hard mass, some soft mass, browse, different regeneration types, things to be able to identify when you're out scouting your areas and trying to figure out, is this a good spot to spend more time in, put some cameras up, hunt, or whatever else.
So that's one of the things I love to do, is educate folks on what's going on in the landscape throughout Pennsylvania, and the benefits of timber harvesting, proper forest management, proper harvesting of timber, and the end result in how it benefits us as hunters. I don't need to show off all this ugly grass.
It's a red oak.
It is a red oak. You know how you can tell? By the way it is. We got red maple. We got black cherry. We got black cherry again. More oak. More red maple, tulip. I mean, figure right there, some pretty damn good ones.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy is, like, you look at these cuts like this and the regen coming up and how not all of it is created equal when it comes
Right.
from, you know, not even just from a forest regeneration standpoint, from a deer standpoint. Because actually we were glassing there yesterday where going through and Justin was asking, he's like, what are all these trees here? I was like, they're all beech. Like, not all of it, but like the majority of like this one section was beech. It's like, that is not nearly as beneficial for deer other than cover, because they're not eating it.
Right, yeah. With beech, there's very little browse, and it's to the point where, you know, it's a decade or more before it start producing beech nuts. And beech nuts is so inconsistent that it's something I wouldn't rely on, you know, looking at that. Look, as beech as cover. But the reason a lot of that beech that you guys saw last night came back like that is when we did the harvesting in there, we were cutting all the beech. So beech root sucker. So as we cut those, they just start growing around all the root suckers. And we didn't do any herbicide application in there. So that's why the beech was so prevalent in those areas.
So, all right, I'm gonna do a test here, Kenny, because you correct me typically when I'm wrong with tree identification.
Yep.
So I'm gonna look at the browse right here. I heard you
Yep.
come up and say it, but I didn't see exactly what you pointed to. So right here we have red oak.
Yep.
Red oak that's coming up. Right here we have tulip poplar.
Yes, we do.
And
You got two more within an arm's reach.
Black cherry or cherry? No.
Nope, but you're close. You're right. Down.
That's maple.
Yep, red maple, black cherry.
Is that just because you see these red?
Yeah, then seeing cherry leaf spot.
Okay.
But you know, I'll be honest, that actually is black cherry. Oh. But you don't see black cherry often where there's not leaf spot on it.
Okay, so yeah, all right, we got what, 4 different species of trees that are all, or no, cherry's not a browsing type for deer, but it'll produce a soft mass at a later age. But to go back to the point of not all looking the same, like this is looking good, thick, like this is what you look at being browse, and it's actually like there is a lot of good variation in browse in this area.
Yeah, and even just on like this site in particular. So if we look out to my left, there's an extreme amount of tulip poplar regeneration, which, me knowing the history of this stand, there was a lot more down debris. There was thicker tops when we did the shelterwood harvest in here. So the deer couldn't get their way through over there. So if we go walking through there, we're gonna see a lot of older tops where tulip poplar grows extremely fast. So when tulip gets the jump on anything, it's gonna skyrocket. But where here, it was more open, the species composition was different in here. So when we did the shelterwood harvest 10 years ago, the tops broke down quicker and the deer could navigate through here. Why it, why more of it's at that waist level versus out there, why it's head high and above.
So all these that are coming up, I mean, this is kind of, you'd call this a clear cut, right?
Yep, this is a clear cut. Regeneration harvest, however folks would want to take the political spin, this is a clear cut. So this oak's been hanging out for probably 10 years, just getting browsed and browsed and browsed, where this tulip and maple is taken off, where the goal of it is to get full sunlight on this regeneration, because these species are shade intolerant, so they need that full sunlight. So if we didn't release them and do that clear cut, we'd probably lose the regeneration to overbrowsing by the deer. So that was the main purpose of this right here.
From a hunting standpoint, you'd look at this and be like, okay, when you look at a clear, or you look on a map, or you go to an area, shelterwood cut, can you almost expect that in a certain time it'll come through and be clear cut at that?
Yeah.
Once the regen comes
yep.
up?
Once that regen gets, and a lot of it depends, like in the forester's eyes, of deer pressure. If we have a great carpet of regeneration of oak, maple, cherry, tulip, and see all these stems throughout, and maybe they're only ankle high and they're staying ankle high, that's telling us that we need to release the overstory, get tops on the ground to protect regeneration, and get that full sunlight so that the trees can start taking off and get, we're both deer hunters. I'm a forester first, but I want to get that regeneration above the deer so that we have that sustainable forest for the future.
Yep. And honestly too, so another aspect of browse that's here, we're talking about the tree types, but we have blackberry briars that are mixed in as well. Like that is, half a dozen different food sources in this
10 square foot area.
Yeah, in a 10 square foot area. And it's spread across this clear cut that's up here. So when you're looking at, like, at least for me, when you look at a map and you're looking at clear cuts, I don't know of a way to look at a map and be like, that one is going to be great or that one doesn't, unless maybe you have a way of looking at it.
Well, it's hard because, like, where we're standing right now, I'm looking at it and there's approximately 50 acres right here. Does every acre on the 50 look like this? No, but God, I wish it did.
Yeah.
I really wish it did. There's some where the regeneration just didn't get to take off as well. It got overbrowsed, or maybe there was some soil compaction from old skid trails where it just wasn't able to go. But it's really, okay, here's the 50 acres. Now let's dive deeper into it. Yep. Could I point out and say, hey, it's exactly at this slope or this soil type? It has a lot to go into it, but that's when it's boots on the ground to figure out.
Yep. Yeah, that's great information there.
Like these got started after that shelterwood harvest 10 years ago, and they've been in the wide open, so they had that full sunlight, so they were able to take off. But they also had nothing for protection, so they'd just been deer food for the last decade.
Yeah. I like this because we're at the top edge of this clear cut and we're hitting into hold on, I'm losing my train of thought. Don't even tell me it.
Not gonna.
I'm gonna start over once I remember it. What?
You want me to help you yet?
Just tell me it.
Shelterwood.
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 Okay. All right. Start
Shelterwood.
over. I like this spot a lot. We're on the edge of that clear cut that we're just at with all that regen that's inside of there, but it's so open. I mean, deer aren't going to be laying in there during the daytime, and we've got what, a 30 plus
I was going to say about a 30-year-old cut in front of us over here. Now this is something that's taken place where we have 30 years ago, things that have been happening for a decade, things that are happening here in the near future, but it just shows the long-term view that has to go into forest management.
Yep.
And all the different habitat types that, deer, as we're, big deer hunters, we kind of focus on that first, but all these three types of, different habitats we have here are needed for deer. They're needed for bear, they're needed for grouse, they're needed for turkey, on top of all the other, the birds and the critters that aren't game species that you know, that we aren't dealing with as much.
Yeah.
But they all see the benefit of it.
Just walking off this edge that we were just at here, now we're getting into shelterwood and looking at it, we're seeing red oaks, we got a big white oak right here and everything. I want to talk a little bit about these different types of oak trees. So can you give a little bit of a background on them?
I mean, so kind of the background of like the shelterwood process of what we see in this stand, you know, in front of Beau and I, is we want, you know, looking at spacing, getting enough sunlight hitting the forest floor. Like directly in front of me, there's more sunlight in certain spots. Other spots are a bit tighter. You know, we want that sunlight hitting the ground. So this is gonna be great where 2-3 years out, that's when we're gonna start seeing that browse coming up. And just kind of looking at what maybe the game plan would be here is a very much monitor. This wouldn't be a cookie cutter, hey, in 3 years it's going to be great, because with the amount of fern that's coming in the understory, which it happens with the disturbance of the logging activity. It's something we deal with all the time. There's a good amount of regeneration, but maybe not good enough where we won't have to do a herbicide application to control the ferns. So you could look at this today and it's like, hey, this is going to be a great spot for this season, but maybe next summer a herbicide application takes place and it's going to be that brown, looks like, you know, winter time and nothing's growing. But that's when future wise this will be a phenomenal place to hunt.
Yeah, and but even looking at it, so what I think of from like a right now standpoint, one thing I'd still do is come in here and check these trees as far as seeing if they have acorn, because maybe you're not hunting directly on the spot, or honestly you might be able to because you're close to this cover where they might be bedding. You see it's shaded and dark in there, especially that early season. It's hot, you'd see a buck laying in there. He can see out a ways, but it's hard to see in. So that's why I like those older cuts from a bedding standpoint. But coming in, taking a look, glassing to see if we can see any acorns up there in late summer, early fall. You know, you got the white oaks that have lower tannins, as you've always called them, the filet mignons of the deer woods, dropping that early fall time frame, but typically they're gone, scooped up, you know, mid-October.
Right, and especially in this stand it's heaviest to red oak.
Yeah.
So when you find these few pockets of white oak, early season spot.
Yeah, and honestly, there probably might not even be some still left on the ground by the time the season opens. So I've run into that with small stands like that with white oak, is sometimes by the time October comes, if your season opens in October, that they could be gone already. So just have that in mind. But then you look at, you know, a red oak, they have a little bit of a later drop. And that, I mean, you can have, especially in a big stand of red oaks, you might have them on the ground eating into the late season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because this stand is if I look at this is a true oak stand. This is an oak forest.
Yeah.
This is a great spot to be. Oh, there's a few clusters of acorns up there. It's looking pretty decent.
All right, Kenny, what's the best way to be able to identify a red oak versus a white oak?
To me, going to the bark first. Now I'll say that is my forester's point of view. That's how we learned, looking at the bark.
Okay.
That's very distinct differences to me. And I think once people just take the time, look at the bark, it's really gonna pop. It's really gonna make a difference looking at the bark of a red oak versus a white oak.
Okay, red oak, what does it look like for bark?
I mean, this is the way I look at it, is keep it simple. You know, it's longer chunks of the bark. You know, the fissures in here aren't as deep. It's just a little bit cleaner, tighter. You know, even though it is a little bit blocky, but it's tighter, a little bit tighter of a bark. You know, colors are similar, but just the formation of the bark to me is, it's that pop. But that's the way we were taught to learn at school.
Okay.
You know.
All right, what about white oak?
White oak, it's, in a way, it varies tree to tree in a sense, but it's smaller chunks of the bark and a little bit flakier.
Almost like shingles a little bit?
Kind of shingles a little bit. And you know, we'll walk over to this white oak, take a look at it, and you'll look at them side by side. You'll be like, man, okay, I see that difference.
Okay.
See that difference. And I think, you know, for those wanting to get better at identification as hunters, you know, hey, we're out scouting early, we're looking early, leaves are out, but when you're learning a new area, it's like, hey, I'm gonna go hunt somewhere new in October, November, December, the leaves may be buried in the snow. I really love looking at the bark for that form of identification.
That makes sense. And honestly, like for me, the easiest way is definitely leaves when they're available, because the red oaks have the pointy lobes, where the white oaks have the rounded lobes to them.
You know, so right here at this white oak, you can see kind of the smaller blocks, little flakier, and it has a whiter color. That's one of the things that jumps out to me in particular. You know, is seeing that. You can look up the, you know, it's a great white oak. It's not the prettiest in log form, but it's a, you know, great white oak to look at, where you can kind of see around over in here, you see more of that whiter, kind of flakier appeal to the bark. And I think that's one of the best ways to look at it as a quick thing. But when you were forced to do it, you figure out ways to do it, you know, take your time, use the books, use the apps that are out there, take your time, look and identify, and it will make things much better for you throughout the hunting seasons.
All right, to really have a good idea as far as hunting this area, I need to spend all day in here, maybe multiple days walking through. But first and foremost, I started looking down this edge, and this spot caught my eye because it was a little sunk in area that goes into this 30-year-old clear cut. Right on the edge, the first oak trees are here. There's a ton of old acorns on the ground. We've got some green ones that have fallen from the trees already coming down. So this is the first, you know, oak trees leading from the thick cover that I'm assuming is bedding that is coming out into here. Walking in here just a little bit, right away I can see it. There's an old historical rub, pretty good rub on that tree. Heavy trail coming out, and we've got a heavy trail coming here, meeting at this X. One kind of going up to that clear cut, and those oaks, that white oaks right there. The red oak grove here. We've got the low spot down there. I do see sometimes, my concern would be is that a big buck may want to get into that low gap and kind of let all the scent pool come down to him before coming up. But this is where this is a starting point that honestly I would put a camera right here, probably back on that oak tree, get it up a way so it's not right in the deer's view, aiming back down towards this intersection.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense to me.
That's what I would do to start with it. I'm not going to pick a tree or anything right now. There's too many variables yet, but I would get a camera in here first to be able to check it out.
Yeah, and I mean, now I start looking at it tree point of view is, you know, yes, we have this big shelterwood behind us. There's going to be, if there's a mass producing time, that's going to be your spot. But also the residual stand behind us is, you know, in these clear cuts, as we leave crop trees, host trees that, you know, to dump mass, to dump seed, just in case something would go wrong with that next forest that's growing. And we have white oak, red oak, white oak, red oak, tulip, poplar. So there's good diversity out there that could be more mass producers in here as well.
It's a big beech right there.
Oh yeah, that is a big beech. That'd be a good one to look at.
Yeah. What do we got?
Beech nuts.
No way. Is there anything inside them?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good looking beech nut right there.
It's hard to find.
Those are real hard to find. That's awesome. That is awesome. I mean, this is something you just don't see all the time. Very, very sporadic. Beech nuts are one of the, I guess I'll use the word healthy, one of the best mass feeds for deer. It'd be phenomenal. Would I base it year after year? Because we could show up today and see tons of them on the ground, or throughout the fall see tons of them on the ground, come back for the next 5 years, not see one again. So it's something, if you see them, react on it quick. Get a camera up, think of it as like, hey, this might be a good spot to be. Get your binoculars out, be looking up in the trees for those, you know, for the beech nuts. And I would definitely look into it, for sure.
So we're on this side of the clear cut and the shelterwood harvest. So we moved across from it, what looked like big timber. And coming in here, right off the bat, we started seeing some big beech trees, found the beech nuts on the ground that had them inside those pods. And then here's an example of a black cherry tree. Now these aren't everywhere in the country,
right?
But for those of us in Pennsylvania, New York, even West Virginia, I don't know.
So, some parts of Ohio, I mean, cherry is around, but Pennsylvania has always been known for the quality of it. Yep. Like this is a really nice looking tree, but this still isn't show the example of the quality of black cherry that Pennsylvania grows.
Yeah, 100%.
And this is still a beautiful tree.
So they have a little soft mass, a little cherry that will drop from them. Black cherries, you really need a giant stand of black cherries to have enough to make it through hunting, to get you into hunting season. A lot of times they'll drop really in August, in September after rainstorms. I'll walk through areas how I know, instead of, you can't really look up and see them up in the branches, it's kind of difficult. So I'll walk along like a dirt road, and you'll see them laying there after a storm. And it's like, okay, no, there's black cherry crop this year. Problem with them is a lot of times they're scooped up before season even opens. If not, you have about a week or so. And then I don't know the reason behind it. Maybe you do, Kenny, but they stop. They don't seem to eat them again until after the first snow, and then they'll dig them up.
Yeah, it has a huge role. Like I look at it on a forester's point of view, is we've seen 4 different timber types in about 100 yards. And each one is gonna have a little bit different of a prescription, and our target regeneration is gonna vary a wee little bit. Like in that oak stand, we wanna regenerate oak. Over in here, we want diversity. So, there's more of a cherry seed source, probably gonna get some better cherry regeneration, but there's a lot of diversity in here, and that's what we want on a forest level, on a wildlife habitat level, is to get good diversity to get a healthier forest, healthier wildlife habitat.
Yep. Man, I'd say that's a picture perfect apple tree, Kenny.
Yeah, this is a jamming spot for it, and really everything here that draws you to the apple tree, the history here is what you look around, you see the history, and then it starts making sense.
There's a piece of metal there. We've got a piece of, looks like an old foundation of some sorts, a spring that's dropping down. I mean, we were talking about this beforehand offline about these spots finding apple trees and using LiDAR to find the old foundations. A lot of times in the bottoms or down lower near spring seeps, because where people would either build houses or camps or anything, they wanted running water close by, and they'd plant these apple trees. And right here's a perfect example of it. And this one actually has some apples on it, so.
Yeah, this looks like it'd be a heck of a good spot.
You gonna put a camera up or what?
I think it sounds like a great idea.
Let's do it. The only thing I want to say about apple trees, or I have a couple things I want to say about apple trees. First and foremost, apples like this one right here actually has a decent amount of apples on it. So I would definitely put a camera here and think that there's a good chance that there's still some apples before season. Now, if you were to find one apple tree like this and you looked up and you saw 10 apples on the tree, they're gonna be long gone by the time season comes in. Still might be a good inventory spot for cameras, but this one has enough on it that there's a chance it makes it into the season, and definitely would be a good inventory spot to see where the bucks are.
Yeah, that's where my mind is an inventory spot.
Well, you got a Tacticam and X3.0.
Yep.
So let's get that baby hooked up.
Let's do it.
You got it activated beforehand.
I did get it activated beforehand. Took me a minute, but simple process. We were able to do it. If I can do it, anyone can do it.
Yeah. So the way you want to do that is you can do it 2 simple ways. You don't need an SD card in those 3 O's. So the setup, you wait till your bars here go all the way and they settle in to make sure you got service. It'll search between the 3 cell carriers to make sure which one has the best. And once this blue Wi-Fi thing starts blinking, you can actually go into the app and connect to it via Wi-Fi and use your phone as a monitor. So you can see, you could go out there in front and see where it's aiming at, check it, change the settings right on your phone, and then twist it on. See how it just turned blue?
Yeah. Well, you can give me a tutorial on that, because that's new to me.
All right. You want to pull out your phone?
I guess I should do that, huh?
All right, so how you do that is, oh, actually right there, hit allow. Okay, hit continue. Hit join. Just take a second. And there's your ugly mug.
There it is. That's an ugly photo there.
So this little gear icon up here, this is where you would change all your settings at. And you can do this later too through the app, like, and it'll remotely change those settings. You can change that in there. You could format an SD card if you had one. But all you do is get it set up, make sure it's angled in the right way, and then you come back over, flip it on, and it's ready to rip.
Awesome. Well, let's pick a spot.
I like that cherry tree.
I do too.
Okay, stop. Let me take your hand off it so I can see a little bit this way. Right there, stop. I think that'll be good, but check on your phone.
Oh, yeah.
Look all right?
Perfect.
All right, now just flick it to on, shutter, and let's go. All right, so we had a good day out scouting, identifying trees. I think some of the key takeaways from this is knowing your food in the woods, knowing the deer, what they're gonna be doing, what they're gonna be feeding on, e-scouting, glassing, and then boots on the ground. Because I mean, you need to know what the food is for this year. And knowing what the food is for this year will help you determine what you're gonna do. Things are changing constantly in the woods. Understand those browse types, understanding all of just the whole nature of the forest and the areas that you hunt. So Kenny, I appreciate you showing us everything.
Thanks for having me, man. It was great, enjoyable as always, but you know, it's something to look at when you're hunting. Is the forest is evolving every day, whether it be from man managing the forest or whether it be from Mother Nature, new insects, disease, pests, storms, etc. So, you know, boots on the ground. That's one of the best. That'll help you learn more about identifying trees, identifying browse, identifying all your food sources that the deer are on to make you a better hunter. I think that's one of the best things you can do.
Yeah, and it's so freaking hot outside right now.
It is really hot.
So I think we're gonna wrap this up. But tell everyone, Generations Forestry, what do you do?
Yep, so Generations Forestry, we're a consulting forestry firm throughout Pennsylvania and New York State, managing forest land, timberland, doing from wildlife habitat projects to timber sales, timber inventories, stand analysis, anything that would need done on the landscape, whether it's just, you know, producing forest products or making your property better for hunting and recreation. We do everything in between, and so that's Generations Forestry.
And how do they get a hold of you?
The best way to get a hold of me, you know, for those on social media, is my Instagram at Kenny Kane, or you know, get on the internet, generationsforestry.com, and reach out anytime. We have a staff of 10 foresters that are all avid hunters, avid outdoorsmen, and more than willing to help in anything we can do for forest management.
Yep, and we're gonna do a podcast right after this, recapping the day here and getting in a little bit, some more detail on different things, a little bit more deer stories, some other things there. So
absolutely.
Check it out. Thanks everyone. And if you have any local observations of your own food sources, trees and stuff in your areas, drop them in the comments below, because everywhere is just a little bit different, but really appreciate it.